What's up? Long time no see. Well, I guess I'll start by saying I don't know where this channel's going. I've had it a long time. It's very therapeutic. It's almost like therapy. I've gone to therapy my whole life. It reminds me very much so of it. It's even better than, things like therapy that they give you, the 14-day meditation channel. I don't know. It just does it for me. Through my YouTube career, I feel like I got lost. I got caught up in drama and bullshit, and it just sucked. I like more so of being me, making people happy, and not being dramatic. I got caught up. People I think thought that were my friends weren't my friends. Just a bunch of treachery, and it seems like all that comes from being live and shit like that. I couldn't find a loyal group, and loyalty is like the highest regard, if you ask me. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna chill a little bit on going live. Although last night, let me back up. One time, I kind of trolled Jodi Arias and wrote her a love letter. I mean, I laid it on thick and sent it to her, and she never wrote back. But I was thinking, all these psychopaths that do this crazy shit, like Gypsy Rose and people like that, I was thinking maybe I could sometimes write them letters and troll the shit out of them. So I was thinking like changing my channel to letters to psychopaths, And I think I could do that, lay it on real thick and see if I could get some letters back and we laugh. But something I can do now is, I think in my life, me and my friends used to always say, we wish we could write a book, about experiences and stuff. So I'm thinking that I could tell y'all stories about things that happened to me and what happened, because I've led a fucking crazy life. I really have. I know y'all know I'm wild and crazy, but I've done some crazy shit, and my friends have done crazy shit, and crazy stuff's happened to us. And I figure I'll share some of those events with you, like I'll try to do a couple uploads a week, and tell you crazy stuff. Like, I think the story that I'll tell today is going to be one time I threw a house party in my mom and dad's mansion, and I got robbed. Other stories I could tell you about interactions with the police. I could tell you about another time I got robbed. I could tell you about getting carjacked, finding dead bodies. A lot of my friends are dead now. Actually, I got more dead friends than I do alive friends. I can tell you some of that stuff, So I figure, and it'll be therapeutic for me to get it out. And I figure y'all will be entertained, It'll be entertaining. So, let's see, what'd I say? The first one that I was going to tell you about, I'm going to do like one to upload. I try to stick to like 10 minutes or so, something like that. This is going to be, alright, so when I graduated high school in 1999, I went to college at University of South Carolina, and this was in the summer after my first year of college, because I had some college roommates come to the party, so that's how I know. So this would have been in August on a Saturday, and the following Sunday, me and my son's mother were going to whitewater rafting on the Nantahala River in, I think it's Deep, North Carolina, maybe. And we were taking her, I think it would be her sister's kid, so I think that would be her niece, okay? So we planned this party, right? probably a week or two in advance, told everybody. And it's kind of a known fact that I could throw damn good parties, you know? I mean, everything from a person that answers the door to a keg, full bar. I'd fill up the jacuzzi tub with ice and put canned beer and bottled beer inside the jacuzzi tub filled up with ice, you know. And it's a big location, like in the kitchen. This is where I got the idea for all these albums and stuff hanging up on the wall. Because in the kitchen, my dad had probably 500, maybe 1,000 albums hanging up, just like I do right here. And it was dope. It was really dope. My mom made these drapes that were the windows were 20 foot, and the drapes were, you know, 20 foot long. And to give you some insight on the house is, we bought 3 shops. There were shops on the bottom level, and then upstairs we combined 3 shops and combined them all, and you know, renovated it. Somewhere between whenever I was like in 9th grade to about when I graduated. And it turns out, what is ironic is that house, it ended up being a huge historic place that was built in like early 1800s. And it was a dentistry. And we didn't know this at the time, but we researched it. And it turns out that the dentist was kin to me, you know, a couple great grandfathers back, you know. And it was just a really cool place. You know, you would enter on the first level, and you had a back staircase and a front staircase, and you'd go up the staircase to 4,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 30-foot high ceilings. It was just amazing. I mean, it was so cool that the state magazine, you know, like, I don't know what it's called here in South Carolina, but they would come and do an article on this historic place. I mean, it's Civil War times. It was before the Civil War. It was really cool. And right across the street, I'm talking about, walk out the front door onto Main Street of York, South Carolina, and across the street is a bar. And I'm just now turning 21, and this bar's opening up. So the first day the bar was opening up, who you think was there to welcome it to the neighborhood, so to speak? Me. They would have, you know, Christmas parades every year, and we would all meet at my house and open the windows, these huge windows, and then they had this little spot where you could step out, and we would step out the spot. There'd be 3 people here, 3 people on another window, 3 people on the balcony, 3 people on the other 2 windows, and we'd make the paper every year. Us watching the parades. So it was pretty cool. So it was a pretty dope spot to throw a shindig. So I found out Ma Dukes and Pops was going out of town, and you know, I found out probably a month prior. So we sent the word out that there's going to be a bash there, and man, it traveled like hotcakes. I mean, it traveled quick. But here's the kicker. My mom has some expensive shit. Expensive paintings, expensive crap you put on the table, expensive all types of stuff. Shit everywhere, knickknacks, whatever you want to call it. But these knickknacks would be like a Neiman Marcus snake, a fucking Versace throw. I mean, not really Versace throw, but just, you know, expensive shit. And coming up my whole life, I've been breaking this stuff and received all types of hell about it. So I had to come up with a way to not trash this house. And people are going to have cups with keg beer in it and getting drunk. So I got to figure something out. So what me and my son's mom figured out is we took a piece of paper and stuff. I mean, I can remember the table. This table would sit like 10 or 12 people, and it had that insert in the middle. You know, it'd get bigger, get smaller. You know, I mean, I had to protect that, you know. her chairs, everything. So we go through the entire house, every bit of it, and we took a piece of paper, you know, notebook paper, drew a square, and drew things that were stationary, like a desk or whatever. And then whatever expensive crap that was around this desk or whatever it is that didn't need to get broke, we would draw it on a map. We would map it where it went. Then we would pick it up and take it somewhere safe. I mean, probably took us a day, every bit of a day to make these maps up. And then when the party was over, you know, we'd put all the stuff back. You know, sounds like a good idea, right? Well, all right. So it comes the day of the party. So it starts. You know, people come. You know, I was there already. All my main friends, you know, 25, 30 people been there the whole weekend. So they start helping us. You know, we get everything out and taken care of. You know, and then the person at the door to answer the door, they're down there to take coats, put them in the coat thing. And people start rolling in. Well, when they start rolling in at 9 o'clock, they don't stop rolling in. I'm talking about they still coming at midnight. I'm talking about the cheerleaders from the town over, the cheerleaders from my town, the cheerleaders from the town to the left, the football team from the town right there. I'm talking about everybody. And to give you, this was in August of 2000, and the #1 hip-hop record at the time was The Thong Song by Cisco, no bullshit. The #3 song was In Sync, Gonna Be Me. The #1 rock song was System of a Down, Aerials. And the #1 country song was Alan Jackson, It Must Be Love. That's how long ago this was. So, I wasn't even 21 yet. Anyway, people coming in, and it is crazy. I think we got 2 kegs, full liquor bar, and like I said, I filled the bathtub up with ice and threw many cases in there, every kind, domestic, everything. We had it all. And it was fun. So, we had a 100 disc CD player that we pumped full of 100 CDs and just hit repeat, and it went throughout. We had speakers in every room, you know, so you just have a master volume that would go right here, but in every room you could turn it up and down as you please. So we had it pumping, and it is going. So probably the police came first time about 10 o'clock. All right, so you know, I go down there, I deal with them, no beer in hand, everything's cool. They want to come in. They ain't come in. So they said, cut shit down. Even though there's no neighbors, nobody lived here but us. The bar wasn't there across the street yet. That came later in life. They told us they were just, you know, trying to stir up some fines and funds. So they told us to cut it down at, you know, 9 o'clock. So, you know, of course it got cut down. But the more you drink, the louder it got, you know. So, about, let's see, probably about 11 o'clock, we got some drunkards there, you know, people falling on the floor. We're young. Well, the reason why I said a Neiman Marcus snake is because, I mean, this was I don't know if it was an antique or what it was, but one of my friends goes and gets it out of the safe room, and they're like, what is this? What is this? Ah. And there's this huge glass table that is probably 8 foot by 4 foot, you know, and it's sitting in front of a decked out couch. And we even thought of the couches, man. We put throws over the couches so the couches wouldn't get fucked up. Well, this dude just takes this snake, man. He was drunk. He takes this snake, lifts it up over his head, and pow! Hits that sucker on that glass table. That snake goes into like 6 different pieces. Thank you, Jesus. It did not break the table. It did not break the table. Don't ask me how, but it didn't, you know. So I'm like, man, this is getting out of freaking hand. People cutting out, locking themselves in rooms, doing what kids do with cheerleaders, and it was just a wild, wild party. Well, then you know, if you walk out the front door, you're on Main Street. If you walk out the back door, you're on the alley behind Main Street. Well, there's this commotion behind my house. On basically, I mean, it's still kind of Main Street, but it's behind Main Street. And next thing you know, it's rednecks fighting. Next thing you know, it's girls fighting dudes. And dudes like that right there, you know. It's just outrageous, you know. Police come, I round everybody up, get them in the house. We continue to parlay, you know, to the mid-hours of the night. You know, many people ride off into the sunset, and the party ends. I know I'm already fucked because the snake's broken, and there's freaking, you know, when people got keg beer in solo cups, red solo cup, what happens? You spill it everywhere, so it looks like a fucking club dance floor, black everywhere. So I got to dang scrub the floors or whatever. Well, anyway, we all pass out, go to sleep, and like I said, we wake up in the morning, and I got to get everybody the fuck out. Probably 20 people. Get the fuck out. I got to go whitewater rafting on the Nantahala. All right. Well, I got paid, you know, a whole paycheck. And back then, there was no direct deposit. You cash your checks. So, you know, I'm sitting here with $500 in cash. I got to pay for my baby mama's, you know, whitewater rafting crap. I got to pay for that niece's whitewater crap. All right, so I done kicked everybody out. And it's just me and the baby mama, and we're about to leave. Well, I take the money, and I, you know, get $150. And then I take the other $400, I think it was actually $325, and just lay it on my bed. Nobody's got a key to my house or nothing like that. And you can't break in because there's these huge, heavy doors at the bottom that you just can't get in. It was impenetrable. So I lay that on the bed, and we go off and we go whitewater rafting to the Nantahala. And it was fucking awesome. I remember it. It was amazing. Well, we get back that night, me and my son's mom, but I don't have a son yet. Son comes in about 7 years. I don't have a son yet, and we come back, and, you know I left my paycheck, cash paycheck, on my bed. And I look, it ain't there. I start tossing shit up. Where the fuck is it? Where is it? It ain't there. All right, so I'm really disturbed by it, but I'm a kid, you know, I'm still gonna eat. You know, what the hell happened to my check? You know? Okay, so we start to put the house back together, all right? So when we put the house back together, we notice there's an antique missing. And then there's another antique missing. And then there's another knick-knack missing. And then there's some curtains missing. And we're like, what the fuck, man? So for many years, for about 3 or 4 years, you know, I thought somebody robbed us, broke in, something was up. I'll tell you about that. So anyway, my mom and pops come home after this shindig, and you know your mom knows if a certain knick-knack is placed on a table and is facing due east. Just like that Misery movie where he knocks over the little figurine and he has it facing north when she always faces it south. Well, my mom keyed in on that shit within 30 seconds. But the house was clean, but shit was missing. And, you know, I told her, I said, yeah, I had a little party. They're pissed. But they're even more pissed that the Nordstrom Neiman Marcus or something snake is broken to 1,000,000 pieces. And she says she could see where it got hit on the glass. I don't know. They still have that table to this day, though. So they're hot. Talking about they're never going to leave me with the keys to the house or anything like that. And so anyway, make a long story short, it was always a mystery what happened, you know. Well, what happened was with the robbery was my mother had a friend who was, I forgot to tell you now, in between the alley behind Main Street was a church that I was a member of since I was a kid. And the DCE, the Director of Christian Education, and the choir director and the organ player was best friends with my mother. I mean, they were road dogs. He was cool as ice. He raised me, basically. You know, when I graduated in 1999, he had a party for me and my best friend, you know, where we racked up and then we went to the beach the next day. Well, it turns out a few years later, some of those items turns up at the church. Well, you know, kind of, what the fuck, you know? Well, it turns out that fella ended up getting in trouble for embezzling a lot of money and stealing furniture and stuff from that old-ass church, you know? So we put it together, of course, no more friendship, but we put it together that that's where all that shit went. That's how I got robbed. He did not want to call himself a babysitter when he would kind of raise me, so he called himself a teen monitor. So I got robbed by my teen monitor. That's what happened to all the shit. And to make a long story short, it goes down in history as one of the best parties ever take place in this town. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, to have many different football teams, many different cheerleaders, you know, that was Target whenever you were 19, 20 years old in a 50,000 population town. I mean, people from Rock Hill, Charlotte, it was something else. But I ended up short a week's worth of wages and some knickknacks and knickknack paddywhack antiques and shit. Got the next day. And needless to say, they were hot, and it took them a while before they would leave the house in my care again. But that's that story. That's pretty PG. I'll upload another one soon. I guess the lesson that I learned is I ain't leaving my kid in charge of my house. But I say that my kid's not like me, and he's cool, and he won't do nothing of the sort. So I don't have to worry about that. But some of y'all out there might want to think twice before you leave your kids and you go to the mountains or the beach or whatever, because they might have ulterior motives. And that's that. All right, look for me. I'll upload again soon, maybe tomorrow or something. This was fun. So, living life. I'm going to tell y'all my life's experiences. I think the next story I'll tell, maybe I'll tell you the story about, let's see, maybe we'll go into one time me and my friends decided to throw in on a bunch of pot, and a guy put a gun in my mouth and robbed me. Or maybe I'll tell you a story about how I accumulated $20K gambling one football year and lost it all in about a minute and a half. Maybe I'll tell you that. But stay tuned, because I got some dope-ass stories. I'm telling you. You don't want to miss it. Thank you.